A very good morning to everyone. Welcome to this episode of the BC coding stream. I want to do two things, and one thing I'm already doing. This is the first try streaming to multiple platforms at the same time, so if everything works, we're live on YouTube as usual, but also on Twitch. So this is the first time ever, and then I try to also stream live and directly to Twitter or X and also to LinkedIn. So let's see if that works, and let's see if I can see the chat on all of those platforms. YouTube chat is working. Good morning to Spain. And let's get started. The coding-wise, the thing I want to do today, I want to do the last steps on the WriteOff extension I've been working on. While I'm still waiting for the publisher suffix and the correct IDs, those are not the correct IDs, I want to get everything else ready. So all the remaining infos, warnings, the internals, all the namespacing, like the finishing touches to all of those objects. So let's get started with this. Especially the access internal is pretty important, as I think, for AppSource apps, because on internal objects the breaking changes are not monitored. So you can do breaking changes as long as it's not database on internal objects. So I think it's really important to get those correct before going to AppSource, before the first publish. So this one is already internal. Now let's get the linter warnings out of the environment as well, out of the app. Why is it not disappearing? Oh, the screencast mode. Let's sometimes the save of the app JSON helps. Not in this case, so let's do a reload window. And then toggle the screencast mode again. Let's see if the information pops up again. All right, now it seems to be working. Interesting. There is one warning that it's not displayed correctly, so the application object is not covered by any permission set. So this is also important. Not permissions. Well, I might explain this for anyone who doesn't know this. Permissions is the permissions that this code unit has to different objects. This is important for writing to like ledger entries or any posted tables in the system. I think they are hard coded somewhere at Microsoft which tables these are. So if the code unit doesn't have permissions on them, you cannot even write to them by code, not even if the user has super permissions. So that's important, and that's what for what permissions is. But we need the inherent permissions because let me go back to the warning. This is also coming from the LinterCop. Just a reminder that you have all the objects covered by a permission set. Now, I don't want to have install code to be assigned by permissions to any users. So what I can do with InherentEntitlements and also with InherentPermissions is to set executes permissions to anyone. Like This basically defines that this code unit does not need to be part of any permission sets in the entire environment. Anyone, like any user, always has execute permissions on this code unit. And for install code, so for like inherent read permissions on setup tables, like anyone should be able to read setup tables. There is no, like, this is not a question of permissions. Shouldn't be, at least. Now, inherent entitlements. I've never played with entitlements. As far as I know, they are needed if you want to do monetarization through AppSource directly. I always set them alongside the inherent permissions. If I'm setting those, I also set the entitlements, just to be sure. But it's more like, yeah, because I'm not really sure if I need those or if I don't. So if you happen to know this, leave a comment, put it into the chat, let me know. Because I don't. And I did not Google it so far, because I didn't need it. So. Okay, so this one has the namespace, it has all the access modifier set, inherent entitlements, the triggers, then we have local procedures. None of those are public. So I think we are good with this code unit. I'm thinking if I want to set permissions for the tables I'm accessing here, if this would be good practice. Because usually whenever you install an extension, you have sufficient permissions in the environment, and I cannot set like real permissions. It's just like inherent, not inherent, indirect permissions. So the user running this would still need to have indirect permissions, even if I set the permissions for the code unit. So I think I will skip this for now. Let's continue. So here we have the LinterCop warning 11 telling me that the access property is missing, and this is correct. I'm not sure if this warning is enabled by default. Let's see. Where's my rule set? And how did I name it? Code owners, custom rule set. So yeah, this is not enabled by default, the warning. So if you're using the LinterCop and if you want to have that warning enabled, you need to set it to warning manually, or error for that matter, or info. So you can do that. And then the idea is to remind you that every object in the entire extension needs to have the access property set explicitly. So even if you want to say, okay, this should not be internal, it should be public, this will get rid of the warning, and it will ensure that you just don't forget to set it. So then every object has the access property set correctly. But now this is this is needed for the oh, and I really need to clean this up, by the way. This has a purpose, this code unit. The purpose is, if we go to extension management, I would like to have this button populated. So this should point to the setup page that my extension provides. And as far as I know, the only way to do this is with the guided experience stuff. I used the snippet from Waldo's extension, the CRS extension. So let's review what this is doing and whether all of this is needed. And I'm not sure if this YouTube link and what. So let's clean this up. All right. This should be internal for sure, because there is really no need to have this public or extensible. I think this is just pushing whatever extension, like it's just for setup for my extension. So let's copy over the permissions as well. Same applies to this one. All right. So let's see. What is the parameter for this? Video URL. So we don't have a video URL yet. There might be one in the future. And we don't have a help URL just yet. Still waiting for those. Let's see, this is expected duration. So this is all the guided experience stuff. Run of complete assisted setup. Yeah, so this is something I want to have included. The setup is already done. Do you want to open the page instead? That sounds reasonable. Let's throw this way, this way. Yeah, confirm management. I'm not so sure about that rule if I always want to have this implemented through like a guided experience. The advantage of the confirm management is that it automatically does the GUI allowed stuff and everything for you. I think they're also, are there event publishers? I don't even know. Let's see. Confirm management. Get response or default, I think, is the appropriate one. So this does, if not GUI allowed, it will just return the default. Otherwise, we'll do a confirm. So there is, like, the only advantage is this, and I can turn it off. Yeah, okay, so for automatic tests, this is actually useful to be able to turn this off as needed. So let's just go with the recommendation there and do this. Okay. Oh, yep. Event subscribers now use identifier syntax instead of string literals. Oh, this was not what I wanted to do. Okay. So this is another good example why the LinterCop helps you to have your code up to date with the changes of from Microsoft. So on after run setup. So this is something I probably don't need. So let's Is the update status. Okay, so this is... Wait. Okay. I don't really care about the guided setup, the assisted setup, the guided experience stuff in general, because this is nothing that the user really needs to be guided through. It's just about that one button on the extension management page. So I will remove those as well. And what is this? Okay. See if that works. extension management. So this still works. And I think this should be a separate, like I don't like the way it's implemented through the guided experience stuff. I think it should be a separate thing. If I'm not mistaken, this should probably, yeah, it will use the scope of from where this is called to save the app ID and then link it back to that page. So I think this should be individual event subscriber setup, or I don't know what, like it even could be a setting in the app.json just to be able to set the page ID and then, or have like on the page itself, like this is the main setup page or whatever, something better than this. Okay, let's go through this. We have local procedures, local event subscribers, access internal inherent permission sets, no unnecessary using, and we do the namespace. So what I also like to do is this is system utilities confirm management, and I have a using automatically created for just for this one line. So what I like to do is I like to remove this and define it like this, because I just need to have it in this one place, so there is no need to have this whole object populated with this usings. So okay, so this also clean up, I think. The captions are all correct. So this is looking good. Now the interface. The interfaces I want to have public, so this is correct, and I'm not sure if I need. I will generate the permission set afterwards at the end. I cannot even set the inherent permissions here. All right, so this is fine. There will be some renaming once I have the correct affix, but apart from that, everything looks good in the interface. Now, this actually should not have inherent permissions, so this will be covered by the permission set afterwards, which I will generate. There are unneeded usings, and I will remove them afterwards. But we have access internal. I'm not sure if I also need to have the procedures set to internal, but I like to do this in general. Again, just to be sure, and I don't like to do stuff just to be sure, but in this case, better be sure than sorry afterwards. So okay, so everything's either internal or local. Didn't I? Yep. So this doesn't even need to implement the interface anymore, because what's going on? Why is this now? Just so a comment on the YouTube chat. I'm not using the variable completion providers offered by Andrej's extension, by the AZ-AL tools. I know they are highly recommended and they're really great. They just don't work. At least not for me. I have the extension installed, and I need to talk to Andrej because I need to have Linux support again. I'm working on Linux, in case you didn't notice. This is not Windows. And at some point it worked for a period of time, but it stopped again, and I need to figure out with him why that is and get this to work again. And this is really something I'm missing. And same goes, by the way, for this extension, the AL code actions by David. There is a dependency to Andres extension, so I'm hoping that once Andres is fixed, this one's working again as well. But yeah, highly recommend it in case you're running on Windows and you're not using them. Start using them; they're really helpful. Tons of cool stuff in there. But yeah, I'm not using them. That's right. Okay, I wanted to find out why this is broken now. Where is this used? Vendor references. So it's used here and here. Okay, you know what? Let's keep the implementation for now. I need to find out if I need this or not. I want to finish the AppSource preparation first and then have a look at this afterwards. Okay, I think the rest was fine. There are no warnings or informations or anything in here. So let's remove this because it's not needed. Permission set follows afterwards. And let's continue. So this is complaining about the wrong, incorrect name. Why is that? Write off, cast journal, over. That's actually a typo in the object name, so that's interesting. Okay. Tons of stuff not needed in here. So let's remove that as well. Permission set again follows. Now let's see. Okay, I like to get rid of those as well. So I'm not sure if I have them in the workspace. Because settings. I have words in here, but they don't combine. Like for some reason you can only do workspace or folder settings. So let's check the workspace. Okay, so let's go with workspace. Oh, and you see the local settings override this. So let's get rid of those. And now it works. And that's actually a cool thing. Even though the interface itself defines oh, okay. Documentation comments. All right, let's on the interface. I need to check that. Although the interface defines global procedures, I can do internal procedures for the implementation, so that's a good thing. Okay, let's do the other one. Again, a ton of stuff we don't need anymore. Yeah, variable naming. I wanted to set this to not hidden, but none. Let's see if that helps. And then internal again. Oh yeah, permission set. Now this is the default implementation. Access property. This doesn't need to be accessible, I think. Also internal again. Now this is a stupid message again. The interface defines how I need to specify with reference by reference the parameter, and if I don't change it in here, it will give me a warning. So let's just do this. Get rid of the warning. Because I like to have the project clean as possible. Okay. Now the page. This should be extensible. And this does not have access property, okay. Interesting. Now this is all looking good. Should be ordered by type, that's right. Now I'm thinking those are the fields, like the variables for those fields. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But the write-off interface itself, I cannot extend an interface at all. Like I cannot do that because it would be a breaking change, and anyone depending on the app can also not change this. I feel like it would be a good idea to have this in the protected vars. So extension, like page extensions on this page extension can access the write-off interface and do stuff with it, like call functions. I think that would make sense. Load defaults from setup. This is just an init. I don't think I need an event publisher in here because you could just do on after init on a page extension to load your defaults from your setup or whatever. So I think that's fine. I think we can leave the page as it is. So let's continue with the write-off setup. This should also be extensible. And then it's permission set. That's fine. The tooltips are already created, so nothing else to do here. This is already set, so the inherent permissions say that anyone can read, as I explained before, anyone can read from the write-off setup. But not everyone can write. Nobody should be able to delete this, by the way. Or there would be on the page. I think the page is editable false. Insert delete. Oh no, it shouldn't be not editable false, but no insert, no delete. So that's already in place. Primary key. Yeah, that's also a warning from the linter. NotBlank should be set explicitly for single field primary key tables. That's primarily intended for fields like tables like customer vendor, those kind of tables where you don't want to get an empty primary key on those tables, because that would be then referenced by all the different table related, like the fields with table relation onto that table. Like imagine you have a customer without a customer number, like in the database, one record where the customer number is blank. That means that all fields with a customer number that do not have a customer number would then technically be linking to that empty customer. So for that reason, we've created that warning, that it reminds you to set the not blank property. And for a customer, you would set this to true to disable the possibility that a user inserts a record with a blank customer number. But for setup tables, on the other hand, we want exactly that, to have the primary key blank. So to get rid of the warning, I just set the default value explicitly, and then everything's looking good. Okay, so setup table wise, I think we're good as well. Now the enum, this should be extensible, so access should be public. The default implementation is set. The unknown value implementation is not set, so we need to set this. So again, let me explain those in case you don't know. I think they got added actually later, like after interfaces got added to the language. The default implementation is the implementation that's executed whenever you when I don't have like this. If somebody adds a value, a new value for the enum, but does not set the implementation, then this implementation is used instead. If I would not have this either, I would get an error saying that I need to have an implementation. So yeah, you don't necessarily need the default implementation, but it's like just throw not implemented errors or something, and then at least there are no runtime errors for sure. Like you know that there won't be runtime errors. The unknown value implementation is pretty much needed, because what this is doing is, imagine you're installing an extension that extends this enum, and then users start to select this in the database. Now that extension gets uninstalled, but since the fields are not part of that other extension, they're part of this extension here, the values the users selected for the fields where this enum is used, they will stay. Now if the code assigns the enum to the interface, tries to execute it, the implementations are not there anymore. So this is the unknown value implementation. That means whenever a value is not known anymore, fall back to this implementation here. And I just like to use the same one. And actually I just said that it would be good to have a not implemented error. I think it should be an error that's popping up because something's wrong. Nothing the user can fix necessarily. Or they need to select another value. If this is on a posted record, in this case, that can't happen. But if you would do that, and I think it's probably has to be thought of, like what to do if the non-implemented value ends up on a posted record you can't change anymore. You should offer some way to fix this. Not implemented, something like this. This is probably fine. Just need to move this. Not loaded yet label. Just in case we need to translate this at some point. An invoke target page will also throw an error. And this one as well. I will see if this will be a problem and if I need to rework this to not throw errors all the time. But this way I will notice if I have some missing places in the code. All right, where was I? Oh, the enum. Okay, so this is overpayments. Why is overpayments not known, but underpayments is known? Let's ignore this. All right. So let's generate the permission set. Yep. And I will call this WriteOffType. Rename file. Access properties missing. That's the internal. I don't know. I didn't know permission sets could have access properties. Okay, so this should not exceed 30 character limits. This is because of some weird thing that this caption of permission sets ends up somewhere in the database, and that field has a 30 character limit, I think. So the warning, what the warning is saying basically, that you cannot have more than 30 characters in here, but since this is a caption, it's likely to be translated. And the person translating this doesn't necessarily know of this limitation, so you need to put in the character max length. I'm not, if there was an issue reading this check. Oh, something went wrong. Interesting. Okay, I don't know. This I think this is somewhere ending up in the translation file for the person translating this to be to have this information, basically. This is right. Okay, so this is the admin one. And I don't think I need another one for now. Because it's just code units and setup. Yeah, maybe yes. Maybe let's do WriteOff user. WriteOff user. They don't need to modify delete the setup, but they need to be able to execute everything. So let's do this. And rename file. So two permission sets. And that should be good. Oh, I didn't review this. This is an interface I just created to be able to write tests in a better way. So that's why I put it into a different folder for now. Again, it's access internal. So there is nothing really I need to review here. Okay. Let's commit all of those changes for now. Let's see those as well. That also. Those are not ready yet. Okay. Refactoring or AppSource. Okay, and I want to do one more thing. I have a hard time refactoring, like reorganizing the files in the extension into folders if I'm not using the object one. So let's give this a try. I usually don't do this because time, but let's take the time and let's do this. So there is WriteOffLogic. And this is those 3 code units. The implementations and the base code. So this would be this. This is install code. So let's do another folder. Create another folder for extension setup. Something like this is extensions. Not a file, folder. Extension setup. So this one. Do we have upgrade code? We do not have upgrade. Well, this is misleading. Because I have setup objects. But I don't mean setup objects with this. So extension. Let's do install. It's not exactly install because this is not install, and it will also contain upgrade code in the future. But I think this way and I don't need extension anymore. It's just install. All right. Testability interfaces. And let's create another folder for permission sets. And I'll leave those, the setup page table and that write-off documents page in the root of the document, like on the source folder. I think that would be okay. Don't have so many objects that this needs to have more structuring. And that's why I committed before, because now it's like Git has a hard time renaming stuff when there's also changes. So this way it picks up all the renames. Okay. Let's see if there's anything else. Okay, we need Azure Application Insights. That's something I need to add. It has problems loading the AL outline syntax. Oh, this is probably the extension that's not working as well. The VS Code extension. Internals visible too will expose your settings. Yeah, that's right. And that's my test extension. So that is everything's right. Now, file naming. Yep, those are unknown words. That's right. And categorized. Do we even need to set this? Oh, it's an enum. I need to set this. Okay, let's add this as well. Workspace settings. This. And the rule set, where's the rule set? You know, I changed the rule set. Oh, no, this is the workspace. Okay, interesting. Spelling fixes. Okay, and I think that's it. I just need to do the finishing touches of the app.json, and I probably need to, and this is, I'm not sure if I will stream this, if I will need to add the affix and the IDs, but that's just a search and replace, so that's really a quick change. And then this is ready for AppSource, I think. So looking forward to get this published and to get everyone's opinion about this, whether it's actually working, if there's stuff missing still, or if anything needs to be changed. And right, I think I will close the stream for now. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube, and I will to get notified whenever I start a new session. I will also try to keep streaming on Twitter and everywhere else, like on Twitch and LinkedIn as well. So you can follow me there as well, and you should get notified as well. So thanks for joining, and see you next time. Have a good one.